Hey guys, what's up? Connor, aka the Music Fanatic here, coming to you guys with another review of another album. And today we are going to be looking at the brand spanking new album by seminal pop punk band from California. Oddly enough, the album's called California, and that is the new album by blink-182 entitled California. Now, as you guys may or may not know, I am a ginormous Blink-182 fan. They are one of my favorite bands of all time. They're the band of my childhood, and just all through my life, I have always enjoyed pretty much every single album this band has put out so far. They have not put out a single bad album. They started off their career in 1992 when they formed from former guitarist Tom DeLonge and bassist Mark Hoppus, and back then they actually had their original drummer, whose name was Scott Rayner, and they released 2 albums. They were in like an independent type punk scene and everything. Their original band name was called just Blink, but there was another band over in England that had the exact same name, saw that Blink was getting popular and all that stuff, and they're like, oh, you can't have that band name, that's our band name, we'll sue you pretty much if you keep that band name. So they added the 182. Why the 182? Well, it's been speculated that the reason for that is because that's the amount of times that Scarface says fuck in the movie Scarface. The other thing is, usually their albums come out on the 182nd day of the year, but Mark Hoppus said recently in an interview, why the 82? So people can make up stories about it. So they were on the independent scene, they were making songs about pop punky type things, kind of inspired by Green Day in a way. They had songs, that were primarily about the pop punk type things, about like girls' relationships in high school and all that stuff. And then finally in the year 1994, I think it was, or 1994, they released their their final demo album, which is called their first debut album as of right now, called Buddha, which I own on vinyl. Then a year after that, in 95, they released the album Cheshire Cat, which I do not actually have a physical copy of. I got this off my printer, and I downloaded it off of iTunes, and now I have this. And so that was their first album. Honestly, I love this album. I think it's not one of their best, but, for a first album, it's pretty good. The year 1997 rolls around, they release this album, which is now a Blink-182 classic called Dude Ranch, which featured some songs on here that actually became big hits around their area, like Damn It and Josie. And it has some of my favorite Blink-182 songs of all time on here, actually. Songs like Damn It, Pathetic, Dick Lips, Emo, Josie, A New Hope, and I'm Sorry, and songs like that. I actually made a review of this album on this channel, which you can check out in the description. I know I'm plugging one of my own videos, but you know what, whatever. So again, another classic album by them. Then they released their breakthrough album in 1999, had all of the hits that everyone knew by Blink-182 as some of their best songs, and that is titled Enema of the State. Now I can remember back being a kid, actually being like 3 years old, or 2 years old actually, back in the year 1999, into 2000, 2001, and all that stuff. My dad actually bought this album the day it came out. This is not the original version of it. I actually rebought it because we lost it. But I can remember being in the car, being 3, 5, however old I was, listening to this album, and we just listened to it all the way through many, many, many times. Songs like Dump Weed, Aliens Exist, What's My Age Again, and of course, the always famous All the Small Things. I don't give a shit what anyone says about that song. Anyone can say, oh, there's 2 types of Blink-182s. There's Blink-182 before All the Small Things, and then after all the small things. I like before all the small things. You know what? I don't really care what anyone says about the song. That song is going to be my jam until the day I die. I don't care if the song really hasn't aged all that well. I don't care if, the song is about, oh, he wrote it to his wife as a love song and all that stuff, and it's like the ultimate pop punk song and all that. I don't care. I absolutely love that song, and I absolutely love this album. It's a Blink-182 classic, probably their best album. Not my favorite album by them, though. I honestly think their best album is coming up, 2 albums after this. But yeah, that was released, and the band was on an all-time high of being one of the new big bands in the world that everyone knew and everyone loved. Few years pass and they release this album, Take Off Your Pants and Jacket. Now this album, other than it having a funny title, actually showed some maturity in some of the lyrics. Like the song Anthem Part 2, which is about pretty much like everyone blames all the teenagers of this modern age and all that stuff of fucking everything up and everyone's fucked up, but the parents are to blame and all that. And they have a few other songs on here. Sure, they have like the pop punky type songs like Online Songs, First Date, kind of Story of a Lonely Guy, The Rock Show. But then they have a song like Stay Together for the Kids, which is about a divorce. So they showed a little bit of maturity in this album. Then finally the year 2003, sorry about that, 2003 rolls around and they release this fucking masterpiece. This is my favorite Blink-182 album of all time. I think every single song off this album is golden in its own way, and so much maturity on this. The instrumentation is amazing on here. Mark Hoppus is great. Travis Barker is his best on this album, and even Tom DeLonge is the best on this album. The year before this album was released. If you can't see it, it's on the very top. Boxcar Racer. That caused controversy in the band, and it actually caused them to break up in 2005. Now, this album, Boxcar Racer, is absolutely fucking amazing. One of the best albums I've ever heard in my entire life, and it's just a great album. I reviewed it on my other channel, link in the description. But that caused disputes, band broke up. A few years passed, side projects happened, Angels and Airwaves happened, not a fan. Plus 44, kind of a fan. Transplants, and then they finally got back together in 2009, and in 2011 released this album. I don't hate this album. I think it's probably not their best album, but I don't hate the album. And years have passed, and Tom DeLonge, being the way that he is, he quit the band and all that stuff, and, you know, now the band is without Tom DeLonge, and after that, they got Alkaline Trio frontman, Matt Skiba. First off, side note, I have never listened to the Alkaline Trio before in my entire life, I know, but anytime I talk about the tracks on this album, I'm not going to be going back on Alkaline Trio because I don't know anything about the band. But they got him, heard some of the stuff that they were doing with him, and I was like, it's not really Tom, but Tom was kind of being a dick, so I'm kind of glad he's left, but All the Small Things isn't really going to sound the same to me anymore. But then they finally released this album. So how is this album? No, I'm not going to talk about the horrendous Dogs Eating Dogs EP. I like the song Boxing Day off that album, and that was it. But how does this album hold up to all the other ones? Well, let's go track by track. So first off, before I get into that, I guess I probably should address my feelings on Tom leaving the band. And I'm finally saying it right now. Kind of good riddance to the guy, because he was turned into a massive dick, and he was being like egotistical and narcissistic he was turned into a dick, and he wasn't really doing any, like, for instance, recording this album, he didn't record in the same recording studio as they did. He kind of did the same thing in the self-titled album, but self-titled album is amazing. But in Neighborhoods, he kind of was out of the recording studio, canceled a bunch of shows just because he felt like he didn't want to do it, and he didn't even have the guts to tell the guys in Blink-182 that he wanted to quit. His manager did it for him, and now I just think that he's losing his fucking mind. I think that, like, Tom DeLonge is officially gone fucking insane. He went from, I don't want to be in Blink-182 anymore, released a solo album, which was okay, and now he's like, oh, I'm chasing UFOs. Oh, no, I'm not chasing UFOs. Oh, I want to rejoin Blink-182. I'll never rejoin Blink-182. Mark Hoppus is like, I haven't talked to the guy for 2 years. I don't know what's going on. So I just think the guy's going absolutely fucking crazy. So, you know, he left and all that stuff. I'm kind of sad about it because Tom DeLonge was pretty much Blink-182 to me for a while. Like, the dude was one of the funniest dudes in all of rock music. He had one of the best senses of humor. He wrote some of the best songs in all of Blink-182. And now he's gone, and now we don't have to hear Blink-182 mixed with Angels and Airwaves anymore. He can go speaking about space and all that stuff and chasing UFOs all he wants now. Blink-182 is going to carry on without him, either way. So anyways, let's not waste any more freaking time. We're probably 10 minutes into this review already. And let's go track by track for California, like Blink-182. Track 1 off this album is called Cynical. And the way that the song starts, it has kind of a serious type way of sounding the song. It's Matt and Mark playing at the same time, guitar and bass, but it kind of just sounds like bass, honestly. And then Mark Hoppus is singing the first lines of the song, which is, there's a cynical feeling that I should give up. You said everything you'll ever say. The lyrics behind this song, I think, are talking about two perspectives, either on a relationship or about Tom leaving the band. You can speak however you want about what the songs, whether it's a relationship or not. Me personally, some of these songs off this album are directly talking about Tom DeLonge leaving the band, or they're probably just talking about like a relationship between a guy and a girl. Because let's be honest, that's what Blink-182 is the best at. But after Mark Hoppus is singing his part and everything, and after they in the song go, "Is it back again? Are you back again?" They do a few chords on the guitar, and the best moment of any Blink-182 album ever comes in with Travis Barker on drums. Travis Barker plays drums like John Frusciante plays guitar. Yes, I know the rock critic said that. Because here's the thing, I'll explain what I mean by that. You see, John Frusciante plays guitar, he plays it really loud, plays all over the place, plays all these amazing sporadic riffs that are just all over the place. Sometimes he adds stuff that really doesn't really need to be in there, and sometimes goes a little too over the place, but everyone loves him for it when he plays in the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Same thing with Travis Barker on drums in Blink-182. He's all over the place when he plays drums. Sometimes whenever I'm hearing Travis Barker play drums, I'm a drummer myself, and I'm just going, it sounds like 2 drum sets are going off at the same time. How the fuck is this guy doing this? Like, what kind of drugs is he on drumming in this? And then they come in, and the other part of the song comes in when they're like, "Don't wake me up before you leave. Is it there, the slightest trace of what you once believe? I feel your hand unlock the door, leaving fingerprints of water in the oil." And then Matt's part in the song, Matt surprised the shit out of me when I heard this part of it. I was like, I think I'm gonna like this new guy. He said, what the line in the song says, "What's the point of saying sorry now? Lost my voice while fighting my way out." And then it's pretty much, "I'm not sorry now." So the whole point of this song talking about Tom is, well, there's directly a line in the song that says, there's a moment of panic when the phone rings. I think that may be talking about like Mark Hoppus now knowing that Tom DeLonge has left the band and everything. Every time that his phone rings, he's just expecting maybe, you know, it's Tom saying, "Hey, maybe we could get back together and make all this stuff." And then Matt's point of view on it, I think, is, well, what's the point in him saying sorry now? He said everything that he's wanted to say. He's got it all out of his chest that he doesn't want to be in Blink anymore. He doesn't want to make music with you guys anymore, and that's why you kicked him out of the band, or he left and all that stuff. Or it's talking about like a failed relationship and everything, and the girl left the guy or the guy left the girl, and now there's no point in apologizing because everything's said and done with. So that's my 2 perspectives on the song Cynical. I think the song is pretty good. It has such a fast-paced, like a fast pace to it. Sure, it's like your average pop punk song, but it's still good. The drumming on that, it has a really serious tone to it, but it's still really fast. So above all, I think the song Cynical is a really good song. Next song on the album is now the infamous Bored to Death. What really needs to be said about the song Bored to Death by this point? I mean, everyone has pretty much voiced their opinion about it and how it's pretty much the perfect first single off this album to let you know what this album is going to sound like. Sure, some of the other songs off this album don't really sound like Bored to Death, but a lot of the album kind of does, and it's the perfect way to start it off. The beginning of the song kind of sounds like, yeah, this would be a song by Blink-182, with Travis's beginning drumming on there, which honestly kind of reminds me of Feeling This off of the self-titled album, and then they come in with Matt is just picking at the chords and everything, and then they finally come in, and it has like a soaring type way that it goes across with the song. When Mark is singing, they go to the pre-chorus. The chorus is him and Matt trading back and forth. Matt has his part, has his verse, sings about it, and I think the song is pretty much talking about like growing up and realizing that you're not young anymore and everything, and you're probably bored to death with your life, or bored to death with everything that's been going on and everything. Maybe it's also talking about a relationship. You can also bring that into any Blink-182 song, honestly. But I think that this is a phenomenal song, great song to put on the album, and great way to have a second song on here. If it was the first song, I'd be a little confused. So that's the song Bored to Death, honestly one of my favorites off the album. Next song on the album is called She's Out of Her Mind. And Blink-182 is back at writing songs about girls. But that's not really a diss on them. I mean, they're the best at doing that, honestly. And the song itself is pretty much self-explanatory from the title. It's about talking about a girl that you're dating that is out of her mind. And there is one thing that I have to say that is prominent on this album. on Bored to Death, on this song, and on a lot of other songs off this album. There's a lot of whoa or na 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 na. But here's the thing, the reason why I'm fine with that is because Blink-182 does that best. I mean, listen to the album Enema of the State, or some songs off of Take Off Your Pants and Jacket, even the self-titled album. There's some whoas and some na-na-nas in there. And you know what? Since Blink-182 is the people who actually made that popular, since they're like the seminal punk rock band, they deserve to do that. Instrumentation-wise, this song reminds me of two songs off of this album, actually. And guess which two songs it is? It's the most popular songs off this album. You guessed it, Rock Show and First Date. It's just the way that the song sounds reminds me of those two songs. The way the beginning of the song actually sounds, I was kind of expecting them afterwards to go in the car, I just can't wait, or the beginning of the song Rock Show, whatever. But they're actually talking about a girl that's insane that you're dating. And the way that the song sounds, honestly, I love the trading back and forth thing, even though it happens a lot on this album. Mark and Matt seem like they're doing perfect chemistry with each other in this band, and this is another great song. Only problem I have with this song and a lot of other songs off here is because, aren't they a little too old to be writing songs about this? I know their demographic is like teenagers, but they're 40 and they're writing songs about dating a chick that's insane. I mean, I know you could do that at any age. You could do that at 40, 30, 20, 18, but you know your demographic and you know what the song's going to, but honestly, I still think that this song is a great song, so yeah, that's the song She's Out of Her Mind. Next song is called Los Angeles. Now we come into another big problem I have with this album, the electronic elements that they have in songs. The electronica elements that they have in songs don't bother me that much. I understand why they're in there. I mean, Travis Barker is the drummer for a lot of hip-hop acts and everything, so it makes sense that he would be using maybe just a little bit of hip-hop edge into his drumming, but for songs like Los Angeles, it feels like it's a little out of place. I will say that the part that I like most about this song is the chorus, because the chorus on pretty much every single Blink-182 song, no matter which one you hear, is pretty awesome. Another thing I like about this song is that it's primarily a Matt Skiba song. Mark Hoppus is pretty much the front main vocal guy the entire time, and then he lets Matt sing a part. But on this song, it seems like he's just singing about pretty much the whole song. What this song is actually kind of about, it kind of confuses me. Maybe it's about like not liking your surroundings, or about how a lot of people glorify Los Angeles, but it's not as special as everyone thinks it is. But then they also say, wake me up when this war is over. So anyone who actually knows what this song would be about, put it in the comments. But I will say that the best part of this song is probably the chorus of that. Other parts of the song in the beginning bothers the shit out of me. When they finally get into the chorus, then it's awesome. The rest of the song is awesome after the beginning, but the beginning part just bothers me. It's an okay song. Actually, it's a great song, but it's not one of my favorites off the album. Next song on the album is probably one of my least favorites off the album, and that's called Sober. Why do I not like Sober? Well, here's the thing. Instrumentation on the song is good. I like the way that Mark is singing. I like the way that Matt is singing. The song is about being drunk and breaking up with your girlfriend, and then the day after being like, oh, just talk to me when I'm sober, it's fine. The problem I have with this song is it could easily be a top 40 country song. And that bothers the fucking shit out of me. It's the lyrics on this song that I do not like. Also, the na 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 na. I kind of feel like they have that in the song just because they couldn't think of any lyrics to write. But honestly, the song Sober just really bothers me on this album. It's one of the songs that I'll listen to and I can get into, but if I start thinking about it, I'm like, this is kind of stupid. So yeah, Sober, not really a big fan of this song. I mean, Travis is playing his ass off on drums. It makes sense for that. The singing is fine and everything. It's just the lyrics on this song that kind of bother me, and it's honestly one of my least favorites off the album. And the next song on the album I just need to talk about really quick because it's a quick song, 17 seconds long. Let's see if I can talk about the song shorter than the actual song is. It's called Built This Pool. Has power chords in there that are usual to pop punk. The drumming is loud and everything, and it has 2 lines of lyrics, and that is, I want to see some naked dudes, that's why I built this pool. And then Travis in the background going, is that really it? The song is just a joking around song. They haven't wrote one in over 12 years, and the last one that they wrote, I think it was Happy Holidays, You Bastard, off of take off your pants and jacket. But it's just a short little song. Can't really say anything about it because it's just a short little song. And then after that, they follow with probably my favorite song off the entire album, No Future. I think it sounds like a Blink-182 classic. Matt's part of the song is absolutely awesome. Mark, as usual, is awesome on this song. Just the way that the chorus sounds, I love the pattern that they do when they sing it and everything. And holy crap, Travis on this song. The beginning thing he's doing on those drums, like I'm more focused on that than what fucking Mark is singing about. And the song is pretty much relationship again. It's talking about, like, the first line in the song says, she said tonight's a waste of time, the next day the sun will always rise, every day that you waste, every promise you break slips beneath the floor, it's a permanent state from the moment's mistake, well, life's worth so much more. Then the chorus goes, you don't know a thing about it, hours lost from dawn to dusk, they don't care about you, no future, let the music seal your fate now, you can run but life won't wait, no future. So the song is pretty much talking about a boy and a girl who break up, and the girl always says that you're wasting your time with everything that you're doing and you have no future. So it sounds like an average breakup song, which it is, a breakup song, but just the way that the Blink formula always works when it comes to these types of songs, and again, holy shit, Travis on this song is fucking amazing. So yeah, No Future, favorite song off the album, followed by my least favorite song off the album, Home is Such a Lonely Place. Now here's the thing, I like pop punk, okay? Pop punk is one of my favorite genres of music that I could listen to just on a daily basis. I mean, for God's sakes, this is my favorite band, and they're like pretty much the inventors of pop punk. But when pop punk goes so far as to almost be straight up more pop than it is punk, I have a serious problem with it. For instance, the song Too Much off of the album Nothing Personal by All Time Low, I hate that song. It's my least favorite song by All Time Low, and I hate that song. The rest of the album I think is good, though. It's kind of like this song. I don't necessarily hate this song. It's just this song sounds like a freaking straight up, like, pop song you would hear on, like, Kiss FM or regular, top 40 radio and all that stuff. And honestly, I know that Blink-182 could belong on there. I just don't want them to belong in there too much. Like, this song sounds like fucking Taylor Swift or like Katy Perry or like One Direction could write it, and it'd be like the biggest hit of the entire summer. Like, I'm so lonely, oh my god, home is such a lonely place without you and all that stuff. But I just have a huge problem with this song. Like, they can write slower songs and they can be like the seminal band that they are of writing like slower songs and everything, but when I go too far with it, I kind of have a problem with it. Like, Travis isn't doing much on the song, Matt is singing fine, Mark is singing fine, the acoustic guitar has a nice touch to it. It's just, I am really bothered by how poppy this song sounds, so not really a fan of that song, and let's just move on to the next song called Kings of the Weekend. Yet again, we run into the same problem that I had with the song She's Out of Her Mind, but I can defend this one kinda too, and that is that the song is called Kings of the Weekend, and they're 40 years old. Now, sure, this song could be talking about just a regular person who you're at the end of the work week and you're finally going to go home and you're finally going to sit back and relax and everything, but demographics here, they're targeting it more towards teenagers, and it's kind of like Weezer. I have nothing against Weezer. You guys know me. I reviewed their last album, the White Album, and I loved it. But it's kind of like the same thing with them. Like, Weezer is, like, Rivers Cuomo is my mom's age. He's 47 years old. And he's still writing songs about the feel when no girlfriend, sad face, aw, I need a girlfriend, I'm lonely, and all that stuff. But he's married and has 2 kids. Now, I'll give this song credit because he doesn't flat out just say, like, oh, we're teenagers and we are rebellious. We're gonna go off and we're gonna have fun and not give a shit in the world and all that stuff, even though it kind of does in a way. It doesn't really say that flat out, but it's kind of just one of those celebrating the weekend and all that stuff. Like, people could listen to the song and think, oh, it's finally the end of the work week, and until Monday comes, we're the kings of the weekend and we're going to go party and all that. Which, just a little bit in a way that's a little, why would you write a song about that? But honestly, Blink-182, they kind of can, because they're Blink-182. And this song isn't one of my favorites off the album, but it's another song I can listen to and still go, hey, that's a good song. Next song in the album is, I kind of have a problem with this song. The song sounds cool and everything. It's kind of like Kings of the Weekend. This song sounds really cool and it sounds pretty good and everything. It's just I have a few problems with it. Now these two songs, Kings of the Weekend and Teenage Satellites, I actually will take back what I said. These are probably some of the best songs that are actually on this album because they're extremely catchy. They're really powerful sounding songs. It's just some of the lyrics kind of get to me a little bit in a way. Teenage Satellites I think sounds good. Again, it has the classic whoa in the song, which is it's blink-182. Are you really surprised it's in there? And then the same thing with Kings of the Weekend, only I don't think that song has any na-na-nas or whoas, because I haven't listened to the song in a while. I like how I'm like trying to sing them at the same time and talking about them. The songs are really catchy. The songs have a lot of punch behind them. They sound like, it'd be like a classic Blink-182 song. But you know me with lyrics and all that stuff. It's just like they're 40 years old writing songs about being a teenager and partying and all that stuff. But you know what? More power to them because they're making money. More money than I'll probably make in my life. Next song on the album is called Left Alone. I love this song. Now, sure, the electronic elements do bother me on this album, and although a lot of people don't like this album, I will say this. This song kind of reminds me of a song that would be off of Neighborhoods, but one of the good songs off of Neighborhoods. Sure, the beginning electronica, like beeping sound in the background bothers me just a little bit, but it kind of does fit for the way that the song sounds. The way that the song is about is, surprise, surprise, about a relationship, and it's pretty much talking about like left alone, like without the person that you were in the relationship and all that stuff. And it has, well, it's not as immature sounding as past songs by them, because this song does have a maturity thing to it, and it has kind of like the way that the chorus sounds and everything. It doesn't sound so much like the old bratty Blink-182. It sounds more like the grown-up, like I fucked up Blink-182. And I kind of respect that a little more than I like how they moved on from their older age to their newer age. Some songs on this album, they flat out kind of just sound like the older way, but with a twist on the new way. And that's kind of how this song is, and it's like the perfect example of that. Matt, the way he is singing on the chorus is one of my favorite moments off the entire album. I absolutely love the chorus on this song. It's absolutely almost amazing. So yeah, that's the song Left Alone. Next song on the album is another one of my favorites called Rabbit Hole. Although I do not really like the snarly, kind of nasally type way that Mark Hoppus is singing at the beginning of the song with the "Dear Head, shut up" and all that. Like, it sounds like, alright, are you 5? But honestly, the rest of the song does make up for that, and I think this is a perfect second single, hopefully I'm right about that, for this album. It's just pretty much a song, I think it's talking about, like, telling your head to leave you alone and everything, like all these problems that you have in your head. It's like, I'm not gonna fall down that fucking rabbit hole, which I think is like a metaphor for like, I'm not gonna fall down to the slump that everyone else falls into in their life. Like, I'm gonna keep up like with the positivity and everything. I think the song is talking about taking all the negativity that you have and trying to stay positive, and that's a good message. But yeah, the way that the song sounds, again, great song. The chorus behind the song is pretty awesome. It does have the woes in the song, but it comes with every single song off this album. Kind of a step down, kind of a step up, kind of midway. Also, the na-na-nas on the album are kind of just midway of eh. I mean, it's not 5 Seconds of Summer bad. It's kind of just Blink-182 average. Hey, this is part of our song. Not bad, but just the way that the song sounds. But Rabbit Hole just has such a punchy vibe behind it, has such a fast pace to it. Like, this song is going to become a Blink-182 classic. Another great song off the album. Next song off the album kind of sounds like Adam's song. It's called San Diego. This song has a serious vibe behind it. It kind of sounds like maybe the song would be about Mark reflecting back at the old days of Blink-182 and being with Tom and everything. Or maybe it's just talking about a guy who's reminiscing on his past or looking back at all the friends that he's, all his friends that he used to know, like, come and gone and all that and everything. And the reason why I think the song is probably indirectly or directly actually talking about Tom is because of the chorus behind the song. If you don't know, Blink-182 is actually from San Diego, and the chorus behind the song says, "I can't sleep because what if I dream of going back to San Diego? We bought a one-way ticket so we could see The Cure and listen to our favorite songs in the parking lot, and I think of every person I ever lost in San Diego, can't go back to San Diego." So the song sounds like it'd be talking about Tom, because if you don't know, in this album right here, self-titled album, favorite album by them. There's a song on there called All of This, featuring the lead singer of The Cure, Robert Smith. Hopefully that's his name, and hopefully I said it right. But Tom is actually a huge fan of The Cure, and, well, Mark too. And it was kind of their dream that they actually got to record a song with him, and obviously it'd be a thing of, you know, if the Cure were to play in San Diego, they would go back to play and all that stuff and listen to The Cure and watch them play and everything. But also I think the song could just be talking about maybe a relationship or a friendship that you had in your life. Like, you can't go back to San Diego, or just you can't go back to your hometown because it reminds you of all the good times you had with your friends that are now gone and everything. It's kind of a serious, sad vibe to it, and the song does kind of sound like Adam's song of Venom of the State, but that's not a bad thing because that song's fucking awesome and one of my favorite blink-182 songs. So this is another great song off the album, and the next song on the album that follows it is called The Only Thing That Matters. This song kind of sounds exactly like the song Don't Leave Me off of Enema of the State, but that's the first song by Blink-182 I learned how to play on bass. One thing I want to add about the song San Diego, there's one line in the song that kind of bothers me. I mean, not in a bad way, it just kind of bothers me. The way that the song sounds, like, in part of the song it says, and I quote, Someday you'll come, wait, where is it at? No, that's wrong song. I never needed to hear all the pain and the fear. Your secrets filled up my ears like the ocean blue. I never wanted to know how deep on these cuts on you go. Okay. And like a river, they flow to the ocean blue. Did Tom DeLonge have, like, cutting issues or something like that? Or are they just making that shit up as the song goes on? Because it says how deep on these cuts on you go. Now, it could just be talking about, like, oh, the personal demons that a person had. Just, when I first heard that line, I kind of went, okay, that's a little different, but yeah. Well, not really all that different. I mean, Tom DeLonge made Boxcar Racer, which is pretty much almost an emo album, post-hardcore. But yeah, so that's the song San Diego. Moving on to probably my second favorite song off this entire album, The Only Thing That Matters. Now, I know in the past I said, oh, they're writing songs about being a teenager and all that stuff, but just, it's such a fun song that I kind of have to look past that. Because the song The Only Thing That Matters could easily be like the first or second song off this album. It sounds like an Enema of the State song. Just the way that Mark and Matt are trading back and forth on the vocals. He has one line, well, kind of just beginning of the song. The way that the chorus sounds, it sounds like it'd be an Enema of the State song. And this song is kind of just an adorable little song of saying that you saw a girl that's absolutely beautiful and you end up dating her, maybe, and that she's like the only thing that matters to you, and the only thing that you feel is her, and oh, you just want to be with her and you love her so much. But the song makes up for it just being a kick-ass fucking pop punk tune. It has such a fast vibe to it. It's such a fast-paced, like, pop-punky type sounding song. Simple, but effective. The drumming on the song by Travis is great as usual. It's just a fun little song. It's just a fun pop-punk song that is just kick-ass and awesome. So, yeah, another one of my favorites off the album, Only Thing That Matters. Last song on the album, kinda, is called California. So I'll just straight up say it right now, not a fan of this song. I like the last 40 seconds of the song, but this is another moment on the album, kind of like the song The Only Home is Such a Lonely Place, where this song sounds almost a little too pop to be pop punk. I mean, it's a pretty good way to end the album. It's pretty much talking about, like, the loneliness you feel after growing up and everything, and then it's pretty much saying, like, it's an ode to California, because that's where Blink-182 is from. It's just the way that the song sounds instrumentally. It kind of sounds, again, a little too pop than punk, in a way. It sounds almost straight up like a pop rock song. It's just kind of a pop song. So, California, the title track off the album, not really all that much of a fan of it. Not one of my favorites, but not one of my least favorites. Okay way to end the album, but the way that they actually end the album is off of a song called Bohemian Rhapsody. And that song is a 30-second song of them playing the average pop-punk type sounding way. I guess it's kind of like an end credits type way of the way, like end credits of the album type way that they're just noodling around the guitar and everything. I mean, hell, the way that they have the lyric video is like going through all the songs, and then they have the lyrics, which are, there's something about you that I can't quite put my finger in. That sounds like something Tom would have wrote, but, you know, Mark can do it all he wants, I guess, because, I mean, they're just the kings of writing joking around songs and everything. So that's the way that they end the album. Pretty decent way to end the album. I mean, I'm not dissatisfied with it, but yeah. So I've talked about every single track. Now I'm going to be talking about what my favorite tracks off the album are. And by that I mean like a top, there's 16 tracks off this album, so let's do top 8. The top 8 songs I enjoyed off this album in no particular order, and this doesn't mean that these songs are my absolute favorites of all time by Blink-182. They're just my personal favorites off this album. And those would be Cynical, Bored to Death, She's Out of Her Mind, No Future, Left Alone, Rabbit Hole, San Diego, and The Only Thing That Matters. So those are the 8 songs I like the most off this album. That doesn't mean I love every single one of them. I mean, I probably love probably 5 out of the 8 of those. So I absolutely love 5 tracks off this album. So yeah, that's my top 8 favorite songs off the album in no particular order. What are your favorite songs off this album? Now, here's my thoughts overall on this album. I think this album is pretty solid. It's a pretty decent album, pretty good album that Blink-182 released. It pretty much shows that they can still write a really good pop punk album that people could just, you know, put in, listen to and all that stuff and, you know, get hooked on it and be like, oh, it's like the soundtrack to my summer and all that stuff. The only problem I have with it is that kind of the same with the Red Hot Chili Peppers album, but not as much. There wasn't really anything that absolutely fucking wowed me on this album. I mean, Travis Barker always wows me on an album. Some of the songs off this album, like Cynical, No Future, Rabbit Hole, San Diego, and The Only Thing That Matters, and even Bored to Death, even the chorus of the song Los Angeles, those songs I was like, holy shit, this is fucking awesome. These guys actually still have it capable on them. But just some moments off this album kind of just feel like, and also the same thing of, you know, it kind of feels like they're a little too old to be writing about some of the stuff that they write. But I still think this album is a pretty good album. I wouldn't say it's one of my absolute favorites by Blink-182, if you're wondering, by the way. First favorite, second favorite, third favorite, and then fourth favorite. After that, it'd probably be this album, then Cheshire Cat, and then Neighborhoods. So overall rating that I'd probably give on this album, I'd probably have to give it a solid 7 to a 7.5. Now that's not to say, now I say that, but I'd probably rate Cheshire Cat probably above this album and probably give this album like an 8 or an 8.5. So this album, 7 or 7.5 out of 10. Again, that's not a bad rating. This is still a great album that I still will cherish and say that this album is great and everything. But honestly, I kind of in the future kind of want them to, you know, go a little more out there, make it a little more punky maybe in a way, and not add like 2 full-on pop ballads on their pop punk album. Some ways I wish that on this album they would focus a little more on the punk side than on the pop side. I mean, they do incorporate both of them, but on some points in this album they kind of have a little more pop than punk, and that bothers me just a little bit. But above all, Blink-182 is still one of my favorite bands of all time. They've released some of my favorite albums of all time, like the self-titled album, Enema of the State, Dude Ranch, Take Off Your Pants and Jacket. Cheshire Cat, this album, and Neighborhoods are what I would define as the great albums by Blink-182, and then the rest of them are pretty much the amazing or even perfect albums, or just, you know, awesome albums by them. This album I still think is pretty awesome, but I still think that they could do just a little bit better. So yeah, that's my overall thoughts on the new Blink-182 album. By the way, front cover looks like that. Inside of it looks like that. Has the Blink logo. Right there has the people who made the album. And by the way, I just wanted to add this right now. I don't believe in the producer curse. I don't believe that just because John Feldman, who's also the guy from the band Goldfinger, just because he produced an album for 5 Seconds of Summer, Sleeping with Sirens, and All Time Low, doesn't mean that every album that he produces is going to be terrible. For instance, a lot of people love Butch Vig, but a lot of people don't like this album by Green Day, but he produced it. So not all great producers make great albums, and not all bad producers make bad albums. Sure, there's some cases that are different on that, but you know, I don't believe all of it. Also, the inside of it has a nice little poster right there, which I might put on my wall, and then on the back it has the lyrics to the album. So that's my overall thoughts on the new Blink-182 album, California. Great album. Blink is still one of my favorite bands of all time. I'll still be listening to this a lot. I'm seeing them live in September, and I'm extremely excited for that. So that's pretty much it. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and that's pretty much it. 3, 2, 1, I'm done. Goodbye.